something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph and self-abasement. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
And when you stop and think about it, it's pretty extraordinary that we, select group of human beings, because of whatever touched us at some point in our lives, are able to sit in a room and come together and actually talk about saving the planet. I mean, it's so almost extraterrestrial to think about, quote, saving the planet.
Our global economy is undergoing deep transformation. The energy transition, the consequences of COVID, the reshaping of supply chains are all serving as catalytic forces for the economic transformation. China's up and reform process over 40 years ago, the country has made great contributions to the development of the global economy.
We have to understand China is the #1 driver of clean energy today, with all its pros and cons.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And we've got to cooperate with them, obviously.
We need the people who understand the language and the case law in the country. Because what qualifies as hate speech, as illegal hate speech, which you will have soon also in the US, I think that we have a strong reason why we have this in the criminal law.
Even in the first letter when I talked about decarbonization and climate, that was in 2020. And all the things I've said are still true today. If you do not have a lens towards decarbonization, you're not going to win one euro of business.
And we have to save this planet to save our freedom and the way we are living. And we are not good enough yet. We have to improve.
The problem that we have is the open press system and basically all the platforms. So if you're able to have 5 platforms, social platforms, that you can basically personify the extremes, and it seems like that is the majority speaking. They're not the majority, but they're basically driving everybody to make a decision.
We will continue to have an open economy, to be committed to free trade, and to see the robust value that globalization has brought to the world. There's been a lot of comment, a lot of concern about the Inflation Reduction Act. As we are implementing this significant investment, we need to do it with an eye towards our closest partners and allies, and to do it not just for our benefit, but for the world's benefit.
I have a constituency that I'm trying to keep healthy, and I can't get them to take a COVID vaccine because of misinformation that's propagated on the internet. And that's where this becomes a much tougher, more difficult, but also just a bigger concern.
Say what I said then, I'll say it over and over again. I am going to get assault weapons banned. I did it once, I'm going to do it again. I love my right-wing friends who talk about the tree of liberty is water with the blood of patriots. If you need to work about taking on the federal government, you need some F-15s. You don't need an AR-15. I'm serious, think about it.
The founders wondered about that too, and they warned us, and they said if the morality of the society dwindles and they don't know the difference between right and wrong and truth, the Constitution won't work. You want a perfect example of the fulfillment of that prophecy is The Constitution isn't working right now, but it's still available to us if we ever decide to use it. And our job is to make sure at least the next generation is exposed to it. And the worst thing that we have to face now is the collusion between big business and personal items that get into bed with the government. Truth, I believe, is truth is treason in an empire of lies. And guess what? We came close to it. Those few doctors and general people throughout, and the journalists and all, that was considered in their personal life treasonous, but it only can be reversed by the people having a different moral standard than what we hear from our mainstream media, our social media, and also from our government. Especially be cautious about what we get out of our government schools.
And for the international order that we have worked for generations to build. Ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
If you look at this question of disinformation, I think it maps basically to every other major challenge that we are grappling with as a society, and particularly the most existential among them: conspiracy, propaganda, clickbait. You know, the broader mix of bad information. That what it attacks is trust.
You just have to flood a country's public square with enough raw sewage. You just have to raise enough questions, spread enough dirt, plant enough conspiracy theorizing that citizens no longer know what to believe. Once they lose trust in their leaders, in mainstream media, in political institutions, in each other, in the possibility of truth, the game's won.
Look, we're not experiencing a planetary emergency. They're experiencing a power emergency, meaning theirs is in jeopardy. Protecting their own perches of influence and money, consolidating their power by any means necessary is their aim. So your modes of transportation, your food sources, how you cook your food, your right to self-defense, your right to free speech, even your right to own property would be sacrificed for the greater good. Now is Ned Ryan, American CEO. Ned, great to see you tonight. It seems that the goal of this crowd is to kind of create the same panic about climate change that they successfully created around COVID. Do I have this wrong?
No, you have it correct. I mean, first of all, we have to accept the World Economic Forum is a fanatical political organization that uses fear and manipulation like COVID hysteria, like the hoax of global warming, to really facilitate people thinking that somehow they're the saviors, but really all you're doing is helping them accomplish their goal, which really is a global public-private fascist movement and fusion of big government, big tech, big money to create a technocratic ruling elite, which conveniently is them. And really, Laura, if you want to look at it a different way, too, with the World Economic Forum, they want to create feudalism 2.0, in which we are serfs and they are the lords ruling over us. You'll have nothing and be happy is one of the things that comes out of Davos. That's what they're aiming for. They're aiming for feudalism in which we are serfs and we should be happy that they are ruling over us.
You once claimed that you have an ability to face unpleasant facts. Is that what you've demonstrated in 1984 by drawing an accurate portrait of the future?
I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
The worst thing that we have to face now is the collusion between big business and personal items that get into bed with the government. I believe its truth is treason in an empire of lies. The Constitution isn't working right now, but it's still available to us if we ever decide to use it.
How much more can this country take? How much more can you take? There'll be no resolution this year, but there will be an enormous awakening that will benefit the human race in the future. It's got to come back to this. Like Ron Paul said in the clip, it's still available. You got to teach it. It's up to we, the people, to enforce it. He always talks about peace and how you have to do everything in a nice, peaceful way. But sooner or later, you got to read this document closely and go back to what we told you show after show with the checks and balances. The government's supposed to take care of this stuff. It's checks and balances. When nobody does any checks and balances, becomes corrupt, they put the hands and the power of the people in the U.S. Bill of Rights. Try to look deeper into what you're hearing on television from many of the newscasters. But with that being said, we hope we are leading you to your awakening.
I love my right-wing friends who talk about the tree of liberty is water with the blood of patriots. Give me if you need to work about taking on the federal government, you need some F-15s. You don't need an AR-15. I'm serious. Think about it.